Hey, it worked. I'm live. Oh my gosh. How awesome is that? Hello, everybody, and welcome to what might just change your life today. I know it's going to change somebody's life, even if it's just mine, because every time I dive into this work, it gets a little bit more awesome for me. I'm doing a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of rearranging while I'm getting started. As you're coming on, I see some people just starting to click on the link. It is going to take a few minutes for everybody that wants to be on to jump on with us. And then, of course, since this is a live in multiple places, I'm going to have people joining the whole time. What I'm going to do is I want to invite, hey, George, I'm going to invite those first of you. Okay, looks like I was going to ask if you're seeing and hearing me, but those comments let me know that you are seeing and hearing me. So we got that much out of the way. I am going to creatively stall for just a couple minutes. Oops, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm going to creatively stall for a couple minutes while some people are getting on here. And I'm going to invite you. Hey, Christine, Otmar, Shalinia, Keith, Jennifer. Hey. So listen, those of you who know other human beings, if you're alive and you're on with me and you know any other human beings, just go ahead and invite them to this one. You know, normally when I'm doing a live, I usually come on and say, hey, if you're interested in this, if you're interested in that, if you're serious about that, and if you're not too much of that and you don't think this and you're not afraid of that, you know, share some people who would come and want that. What I'm going to share today, everybody basically wants. So if you're a human who knows other humans, you just go ahead and invite them. All right. Welcome and aloha. Hey, Jeff, Ted. All right. Let me get one quick item out of the way here. So if you are watching this on YouTube or on my page, your comments are going to look like this to me. It's going to show who you are. If you're in one of my groups, you're going to look like this to me, and I'm not going to know who you are to be able to greet you. So if you'll click, there's a little link in the post that says give StreamYard permission for comments or whatever, and that'll help. All right. I want to be able to greet you. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Angela. All right. So what I'm going to be talking about today, the agenda, we got almost 40 people on in climbing. So I'm going to start getting into the agenda. I'm only going to stall for another minute or two while I'm setting the agenda up. Then I'm going to go really clear on the agenda and I'll dive into the content. Hey, Ryan, long time no see there, buddy. Good to see you. All right. So I do have a couple notes here that if you see me looking off to the side, it's not because I forgot where you are. It's because I'm going to be consulting with my notes just a bit to keep myself on track. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Dev. Love you. All right. So here's what's going to happen today. Here's our kind of agenda. I am going to go into relationships, and I am going to go into how to have the deepest, realest, most harmonious, expansive, soothing, healing, authentic, real relationships, not only possible, but imaginable. And I'm not kidding. Will that happen with every relationship? Of course not. There are people in this world that you, quite frankly, don't want to be in relationships with, which is actually awesome. So there's some people that aren't ready for whatever you're bringing. There's some people that aren't going to like the tea that you're making. Ignore those. But I'm talking about when it comes to the people that matter most to you, the people that you most want to and need to, in some situations, be able to get along with, to have deep understanding and connection that goes so deep that it goes beyond connection. If that's something you want, this live session is going to work for you. Let me see. I got a couple comments here. Let me take a quick look. Well, this is pretty much awesome. Suzanne says, hey, Brian, Olaf from the UK. I just kicked out my last partner for being abusive. I either attract guys who aren't emotionally available or are abusive. Story of my life, 43 years old, starting to think, okay, so I am going, I'm really glad you said this. Okay, she said, my father murdered my mother. when I was 13 years old, and I really thought I healed that shit after so much personal development diving. All right, Suzanne, I am going to, I have an agenda today, and my agenda, just by luck, is going to address everything you just said there. And if you want to communicate with me after this live, you may not feel that you need to after this. All right. I really appreciate you opening that up as a start with. I'm talking about how to heal the deepest things. Most of us did not have a dad that killed our mom. Most of us didn't. Not in this body, not in this lifetime. But we watched our mom manipulate. Hey, Tina. We watched our mom manipulate our dad. We watched our brother hit our sister. We watched the neighbor kids kill birds for fun. We saw and experienced so much pain. So much pain. And I'm going to, over this next roughly hour, for those of you that want to hang with me, I am going to treat this session with you, this live with you, as if this were a paid session in one of my programs. And we'll make it one of my highly, high ticket programs for people that have been with me for a while. I'm going to treat this session like that. I'm going to give everything that I can. I'm going to share a bit of backstory that's going to illuminate a whole lot of keys for you. I'm going to touch on some very deep threads. And then probably for about 15 to 30 minutes, I'm going to hang on for Q&A after that. That's going to be really deep. So I'm going to restate this, something I just said. I'm going to treat this session as if it were a paid program. Once I get out of this preamble and I go into the content, I'm going to be 100% focused on giving you everything that I can possibly give. I'm going to share some trippy stuff, and I'm going to, wow, I'm really feeling this. I'm probably going to blow some minds, honestly, not just with what you get from this, but from how much you get. Because when I do one of these, I don't hold back. For the time that I have, I'm going to be giving everything that I can possibly give. I don't worry about, well, what if I give so much and then they don't join my program? If I give so much, they won't join my programs in the future. That's bullshit. I used to relate to that. To be fair, I am not going to have a sales pitch. I don't use like any of the BS stuff. I was in sales for years and I'm damn good at it. I don't use any of that. At the end of this program, at the end of this live, I have a brand new program where I'm going to be taking a group of people for 8 weeks into healing everything about every relationship, doing spell breaks, going into their stuff, actually helping them to erase and remove and dissolve things with love so that they step into the intimate, ultimate relationship with themselves that can make everything else possible. And I will, at the end of this, I'm going to make an invitation into that. Nobody has to stay for it. If you haven't found enough that you're like, oh, I think I would like to go further, then don't. Hey, Jill. Oh, my God. So good to see you, girl. Holy crap. Are you ready for this one, too? All right. Nalini and River. Hey, River. Bonnie, great to see you again. Esther, hello. Aloha. Let me put this on the screen while I pull my my notes up here. All right. Last couple items. Thank you, Esther. Last couple items. When I make that invitation to the program that I'm about to do, this is a program that should sell for $10,000 or $20,000. I would infinitely prefer to give it away to the world. And I run a company that has to keep its lights on and everything. We are going to make the invitation into this program for the people that want to join us. It's going to be about 90% off for the next few days. All right, so let's just really dive in. I don't want to beat around the bush anymore. Nora, aloha. Feeling a lot of anxiety and worry about relationships, which in turn feels very lonely. Okay, so you're obviously fairly new to my work. I'm going to offer you this as a very start. This will be a tease for everybody else. Feeling anxiety and worry about relationships, which in turn feels very lonely. No, there is no it that feels lonely. There is nothing that feels lonely. The anxiety and worry don't feel lonely. It doesn't feel lonely. Nothing in turn feels very lonely. You feel lonely. And the truth of the matter is you don't even feel lonely. You feel sad when you think the thoughts of alone. And that was a hint that's going to go through everything else that we do here. Okay, so let me dive in. There is nothing on this planet for a human being that can, in the human body, nothing that can go higher into joy and bliss and ecstasy than truly intimate, truly authentic, deep relationships. Just imagine being able to look in your kid's eyes, your spouse's eyes, your partner's eyes, and there's no walls and no protection and no grudges and no that thing you did to me when I was 3 years old, completely 100% dissolved. And the deepest in you looks in the eyes of the deepest of them, and neither of you have any walls or any borders or any hardly protected boundaries. And boundaries have their place when we're beginning to learn that we're safe. An infinite, unlimited being is beyond boundaries, and that is what you are. So there is nothing that can bring more joy and bliss and peace and ecstasy than truly intimate relationships. Is it ever too late? Now, I'm not going to follow the chat too much while I'm into my content part here, Jennifer, but I'm going to say, is it ever too late for an infinite, unlimited being that's fucking eternal? What are you talking about? I'm not. And Jennifer knows me. Anyone who thinks, well, that was harsh of him. No, Jennifer knows me. She knows why I said it that way. An infinite, unlimited, eternal being for whom there is no end of time. Too late is a nonsensical question. Choose presence. Begin to breathe a little bit deeper. I like to say to my current clients these days, one thing that'll help you as we go through this session, just match my stress level. Breathe yourself and relax. The more you relax and breathe, the more what I say is going to sprinkle through your consciousness and touch the places that matter. If you come to this tight and hoping and wishing, it's just going to roll off like water off a duck's back for you. So there's nothing that can bring more joy and bliss and ecstasy than close, deep, intimate, connected relationships. And one more time, if you just imagine looking in the eyes of your beloved, your partner, your child, the person behind the cash register in the convenience store, looking in the eyes of the beloved, and you're so deep and clear and authentic, and you're so open, and you're so willing to be vulnerable, having discovered your invincibility, that you're no longer protecting and bordering and boundarying. And you look in the eyes of your child or your partner, and everything else disappears, and you see into the deepest them, and you have that moment of namaste, true namaste, not some spiritual bullshit we do at the yoga event. You see that the one in them is the one in you. In fact, those of us who consider ourselves spiritual, we all love to walk around talking about oneness, don't we? Oh, it's everything is one. It's all energy and everything is one. And namaste. Yeah. As we go battling with everybody else, as if we hadn't just said all is one, and we sit and judge these people and we condemn those people. Of course, we don't want to be around those people. And then we protect ourselves from that one while we're trying to manipulate this one to get something. As we spiritually talk about all is one. If all is one, then all is one. And if all is one, then the one in me and the one in you is the one, which means there aren't two here, which might be a hint as to why nothing can bring more bliss than true, intimate, authentic, beyond connection. Everybody likes to talk about connection. I'm not talking about connection. I'm talking about looking in so deeply you realize you're not connected. You're the one. You are the love you've been looking for. I'm going to give another kind of a crazy hint here that goes way out to the farthest edges. What if you, the one, the real one, behind that personality and name and story and all the traumas, what if you are the source of all the love in the universe? And you've been living your life trying to get it from somebody else, sinking your claws into them so that they don't get away from you and you get all their love. So let's flip that coin over for a minute. There's nothing that can bring more pain in this human world, more torture, more agony than to look in your kid's eyes, or to look in your kid's eyes and see the fear and the walls and the pain, and you can't really look because of the way you screamed at them yesterday and you didn't do anything to heal it, or you're too afraid to look in their eyes, or they say, fuck you, I'm not looking in your eyes. Nothing can bring more pain than to be at home again, hiding in your dark bedroom, crying over yet another heartbreak, they call it. To fill out the divorce papers with someone who just a few years ago you were completely head over heels in love with, and they were the one who was going to finally make you happy. Now you're splitting the dog in half. Having your daughter say, no, I don't want you to come. I want to go by myself. Please don't come. Having your kids be embarrassed to be seen with you by their friends. Nothing can bring more agony than to be unconscious as you find out that your partner is fucking your best friend's football team or your best friend. The less conscious we are, boy, the comments got quiet there. The less conscious we are, the more pain there is. And the more conscious we are, the less pain there is. So I'll invite you again to breathe, relax a bit. Those of you who would like to, I'm going to keep on rolling here. Those of you who would like to, if you would type in what you feel about what I said so far. It's simple. It's really simple. What do you feel? What do you think? Up until starting this work, all my relationships were painful, starting with the one with myself. I dig it. Okay. Now, you just gave me a key for where I was about to go. Now, if you're in one of my groups and you comment and you haven't given StreamYard permission, it won't let me see your name. I'm going to see Facebook user. It's okay. Thank you for that. Here's a question to consider. And Bonnie, I read what you wrote about what's going on with your family. I get it. Well, you know what? I'm going to ask a question before I go into this next point. Would you consider the possibility, and do you consider that it is a possibility that you could actually step into a place of presence and clarity, seeing through your stuff, reaching a place of healed, clear awareness where you could have absolute utter peace in any relationship, even with someone who didn't like you, even if someone outside of you was resisting you or judging you? Can you see yourself in that place? I hear you, Michael. Some of you are saying some deep stuff here. You're saying some deep stuff, but let me tell you the great news. You ready? Fortunately, you're wrong. Fortunately, you're wrong. Some of the things that you guys are saying is just dead wrong. And it's the best news ever. Okay? Take a look at this. All right. So this will be the one that I'm going to blur with everybody else's here. All right. Check this out. And this is going to address almost everybody's question, one of the core questions regardless. You say painful relationships. I'm in pain because I don't know how to connect with my daughter. Everybody who can relate to this to any extent, if you would just, yours might be a little different. Well, I'm in pain because I don't know how to connect with my husband, with my dad, with my whatever. George, here's my question for you. Are you absolutely positive that you're in pain because you don't know how to connect with your daughter? Or is there any possibility? See, you're sure of this. And that pain is massive. And it's overwhelming and it's devastating and it's soul crushing. But you're dead fucking wrong. And that's the best news that I can give you today. You're absolutely dead fucking wrong. But I don't expect you to take my word for it. It's just that if you hear me, you might like it. Is there any possibility that you don't know how to connect with your daughter because of all the pain that you carry? Everybody who just said painful relationships, painful relationships, painful relationships. Can I tell you a secret? Relationships are neither painful nor pain. Relationships don't have pain in them. You do. You do. And that pain in you. All right, I'm gonna make an offering invitation here now. If you will, I always appreciate comments, and I'm gonna do Q&A in a bit. But if you would stop for a while with the comments, I always welcome comments. If you'd stop with the comments and focus a bit. What I'm saying is universal, but you'll have to find out that it's universal by tuning in. Okay, I'm gonna touch a few of these comments, and then if you would stop. Oh, look what George said. Everybody remember this, because I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna take this quote off the screen and I'm gonna look at his next quote. In pain because I don't know how to connect with my daughter. Okay, and George said, "Oh, I lost you." I don't like what you're saying right now, Brian. My mind said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." So listen to me. We say I'm in pain because I don't know how to connect with my daughter. And I'm asking you, are you absolutely positive beyond the shadow of a doubt? Because see, this is a giant gaping wound in your life. This is agony. I'm in pain. I don't know how to connect with my daughter. She's growing up. She's just going to go off and fucking leave me, and that's going to be the end of it. But are you sure that you have pain because you don't know how to connect with your daughter? Or might it be that you don't know how to connect with your daughter because of all that pain inside of you? I'm afraid that any attempt I make to connect will result in being rejected. Well, that's because you still are choosing to believe that a human being can be rejected. So, Christine, I'm going to ask you a question. Christine, are you absolutely positive beyond the shadow of a doubt? Do you know for sure, and are you positive beyond the shadow of a doubt, that a human being can be rejected? Like, are you a fucking potato rolling down the assembly line? Oh, that one's too small. Roll it out the rejection. I'm being completely serious in my joking. Are you absolutely positive beyond the shadow of a doubt that a human being can be rejected? What a ridiculous, nonsensical bullshit lie you've been telling yourself. You can't be rejected. But I tell you what can happen when you're a child and it looks like daddy picks somebody else over you, brother or sister. Daddy's giving mom the attention and not you. You have your first little crush and they pick somebody else. And the pain of the times when you felt unpicked, when you perceived that you weren't picked, when you experienced that they picked someone else, when you really needed something and they just completely ignored it, the pain of that moment gets frozen and stuck inside of our tissues. And we later mentally rationalize it and call it being rejected, which literally makes no fucking sense. It's absolute, utter, ridiculous nonsense to think that a human being can be rejected. And you know what? You can't feel rejected anyway. Now, okay. Now I'm going to pull the gloves off. All right, Deanna, here we go. I'm going to pull the gloves off. And so I trust that everybody's just present, because otherwise this is going to look a little bit random to you. I'm going to address this, and then I'm going to go through some facts in a rather logical order to help clear all of this up. Okay. Deanna. You know better. You're not choosing presence. You have heard me speak on this many times. You've seen it, you've awakened to it, and you've chosen to not breathe, not be present, and go right back to fucking brain dead sleep and agonize yourself. So here's the deal. If I'm going to ignore the chat for a bit here, and I'm going to focus on this one comment because this gets down to the roots. No. There's nothing to be sorry about, Deanna. No, my God, don't be sorry with me. This is what I do all day, every day with everybody. I'm in no way scolding you, and I'm not upset with you. I'm saying that this is such fucking bullshit, and you totally know better. And for some reason, you have chosen to go back to sleep instead of choosing presence and expanding into your awareness as you were a few months ago. And that is totally your choice. We all get to suffer as much as we want. But listen, everybody. Now, I'm telling you, we're getting down to the roots here that are universal in virtually everyone. It feels. What the fuck are you? Where is the it that feels? It feels. I was just an innocent bystander. You should have seen. I was standing there and it was feeling it. No, I feel. You're pushing those feelings off and away so you don't feel them, and you're pushing them off so completely that you're not even remotely touching the emotions. You're calling it betrayal, rejection, not valued. So I wonder, I looked in my emotional thesaurus. I can say this word. I looked in my emotional thesaurus. Not valued wasn't an emotion. It's not a feeling. That's your mental determination escaping from your feelings of sadness. Rejected, as I was just speaking of. Rejected. Betrayed. I feel betrayed. No, the fuck you don't. You feel sad, and you're telling yourself the story of betrayal to escape the sadness. And that is one of the reasons why the vast majority of us never heal any of the stuff. All right, Keith, now here's where I'm about to dive in really deep. And I appreciate this comment, and I agree with it to a great extent. And I'm going to offer that there is something deeper, much, much, much deeper. So check this out. I was born. Now, when you, here he goes with his story. No, you might want to hear, because I'm going to only talk emotional things, and I'm going to be planting seeds that can grow in you for the rest of your life. They can grow in you for the next hour. They can change and clarify more than you may guess. I was born to a woman. In fact, I was in her womb for 9 months. A woman whose mantra in life was 1 step forward and 2 steps back. No matter what you do, you never get ahead, and life is totally unfair and miserable. That was her mantra. Anyone else would say she was negative, but I don't buy that bullshit. She was in pain. She was in pain. in pain. Love you, Deanna. This woman was in pain. She hadn't even begun to heal the abuse and the criticism of her childhood. Hadn't even begun. She didn't even know it was possible. So she never did. My dad was full of anger and pain and shame. So my mom felt sad the vast majority of the time, empty and sad. My dad felt furious and attacking virtually all the time. He viewed everything as a threat. And if I was expressing any bit of myself that didn't align with what he was told you have to make your kids like, he brought physical violence against me. So for about 17 years, I woke up in the morning knowing that before I went to bed, I was going to get hit, kicked, slapped, screamed at, knocked across the floor, having one of my very few precious little toys crushed before my very eyes. And when I went to my mom, I trust you're listening. Those of you that want to, I trust you're listening. When I went to my mom for rescue from him beating the shit out of me, what I got from her was mainly her own desperate need for love. As much as she loved her son, as much as she wanted to be a blessing to me, when she hugged me, she was trying to get the love that she never got from her parents and that she damn sure wasn't going to get from him and that she didn't know she could get from herself. And this went on for 17 years. And let me get my camera back focused here if I can. Yeah, it's just not going to cooperate. That's okay. I escaped from home at 17. Immediately got into self-help. And I spent 6 figures on self-help over the course of the next 30 years. And my life got worse in absolutely every possible way. But no way worse and more painful than in relationships. My entire life was a string of disastrous, broken, soul-destroying relationships. I loved everybody that I met, friends, girlfriends, whatever, I loved everybody. And it was very quick that they hated me. And what I didn't understand was that I want to offer to you, what if every person on this planet that you don't have intimacy with, that you want intimacy with? What if every person on this planet that you want to have authenticity and harmony and ease, and you don't? What if in every one of those cases, without exception, the only cause is your unhealed pain? Oh, but Brian, you don't know what they do. All right. I think now's the time. Now's the time for me to just, I'm just going to run off anybody who wants to be a victim. And I'm going to touch the core in anybody who wants it. All right. There is a, woo boy. Somebody ain't going to like this one. But I can do a whole lot more by just going to the core of the core of the core of the core of the core than I can get by beating around the bush or any of the other stuff. There is a giant movement on this planet right now regarding the idea of narcissists and empaths. There is a tendency in the mainstream to diagnose. And there's so much I could say. There's so much I could say if I had 5 or 6 hours for this. Wow, look at this. Okay, okay, just hang on now. Hang on now. I don't know if I'm going to pull anybody on or not. I might do that. But I'm saying that I'm about to go to the core of the core of the core. And if you are willing to look at the core of the core, if you want to be free and you're willing to look at the core of the core of the core with me, then breathe deep and hang on, because I'm about to unearth something here. I didn't know I'd go here today. We believe that there are bad people out there. We were taught it. We were taught that the people who wear those funny things on their head, they're the bad people. Those people with darker skin, they're the bad people. These people over here with the lighter skin, now they're the bad people. And this sex is bad, and that sex is bad, and the type of girl who has more than 3 ear piercings is bad. All this stuff. Thank you, Ron. I concur, and I greatly appreciate your comment massively. All right. Now, Deanna, what you just said about they want us fighting each other, that is true, but right now that's none of our business. So let's come back to ourselves. The programming around us that tells us to hate and fear the other, it's as old as dust, and it's called divide and conquer. And it shows up as every dichotomy out there. And I don't know that there is anything in the relationship world today that more perfectly exemplifies the issue. So I'm just going to go there. And I'm going to trust that those who are ready to hear can hear and will hear. And I don't want to lose anybody along the way, but that's your choice. If you're not breathing and if you're not present, that's fine. It's your choice. There is a narrative in play about narcissists and empaths. And the first fundamental, basic, idiotic mistake that every single one of those teachers, every one of them is making is they're diagnosing infinite, unlimited human beings as narcissists and empaths. And the vast majority of us have been programmed into diagnosing and labeling everything so much that we're not even aware that we're literally labeling an infinite, unlimited being. Someone would have labeled my mom probably a chronically depressed, blah, blah, and put her on drugs. There was no chronic depression. She was fucking sad. She was carrying sadness from a childhood of being abused and ridiculed and constantly criticized as never enough by her mother. And she never healed it. She never had any idea she could. So she went into her relationships, including her marriage with my dad, knowing she wasn't enough. She wasn't pretty enough. She wasn't smart enough. She was never going to be enough. And she was never going to be fucking loved. But instead of us seeking to understand her pain, we label her. My dad, hell, ain't no telling what he would have been labeled with, but everyone would say he had anger issues. No, he didn't. He was in fucking agony. The man was in agony from the physical, mental, and emotional abuse that he took from his dad every day of his life that he never healed. He had never had any idea that he could heal it. And what about narcissists? And what about empaths? The funny thing in this whole narrative of narcissists and empaths is it positions one person as the victim and the other as the attacker. And that's how it is from that moment forward. We know the narcissist is the narcissist. In fact, if you go on YouTube right now, you probably find 10,000 videos, the 47 traits to let you know for sure you're dealing with a narcissist. So you little poor fucking victim, it's not your fault. It's their fault. Escape now. And what they neglect is that if you escape a relationship because you're blaming the other person for what they're doing, you take every unhealed thing that they were reflecting in you, you take it into your next relationship every time, guaranteed, no doubt about it. Now, that's true in every relationship, whether we're playing the narcissist empath bullshit or not. What I find so ironic, and the reason I say that this might be the ultimate, if we're going to talk relationships and we're going to talk conscious relationships and how to heal them, I believe this empath narcissist narrative is the ultimate example. It is the ultimate example because there's a whole thing around it. Everybody agrees. And the person in the relationship is positive they're dealing with a narcissist. Listen, I'm going to make a really bold statement here. And I don't expect anybody to take my word. And this is where some people are just going to go away. You ready? If you believe in narcissists, you're going to suffer. If you believe you're in a relationship with a narcissist or someone with narcissistic tendencies, you're projecting onto them what they are doing to you. Oh, I can hear the voice right now. Someone saying, he sounds like a fucking narcissist right now. I swear. I think he's exhibiting 3 of the 17 tendencies. Okay, that's fine. I don't care. I don't. And that's one of the things about narcissists. They don't care, right? So I think that I might be exemplifying for them. Here's the deal. I love you so infinitely that I no longer give a shit what you think. And that is when you can have a real relationship. So when you believe that the other person is wrong and bad and they're doing bad things to you and you don't understand that they are reflecting and triggering the pains that are already in you. George said, I'm in pain because I can't relate to my daughter. And I said, are you positive, or is there any possibility that you can't relate to your daughter because of all that fucking pain you're carrying? The approach that you would take to solve what you think was the issue, I'm in pain because I can't communicate and connect with my daughter. If I could just connect with my daughter, I wouldn't be in pain anymore. So you put your effort on connecting with your daughter when you can't because you're in fucking pain. And Deanna, oh, well, I'm in pain here. It's, rejection and abandonment. No, you're not going to be able to solve any of those things. It's the pain inside of you that when you heal the pain inside of you, the doorway and the pathway for intimate, ultimate, harmonious, deep, connected, authentic, healing relationships all the way back to oneness is here right now for you. Fortunately, I don't agree with one syllable of this, Keith. Not one syllable. Fortunately. Okay, so there's a few people here that are ready and willing to be somewhat self-honest, which is an awesome beginning, right? There it is. And Suzanne, you're absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. You feel that you cannot trust men on a deep level. That's virtually universal. And men feel the same way. Sometimes about men and sometimes about women. And it can be healed. The point is that it's in you. It's not in the masculine. And you know what? Now here's another one. Listen to this. In the modern world today, it's really weird how much the spiritual folks, buy into this bullshit. But this idea of toxic masculinity. Let me tell you something. The only thing in this world that believes in and experiences toxic masculinity is psycho-femininity. Oh my God, he just criticized the feminine. Wait. No, wait a minute. It doesn't matter whether the feminine is in me as a man on this planet or in a woman. It doesn't matter. Or in a group. The only thing that perceives toxic masculinity and would ever believe in toxic masculinity is psycho-femininity, baby. And before you try to get pissed off at me, the only thing in this world that would perceive and believe in psycho-femininity is psycho-masculinity. When we're not conscious, when we're not aware, when we are carrying so much pain that our every thought and action is bent on keeping us safe, we are capable of anything. And so for 40 plus years of my life, For 40 plus years of my life, every relationship that I touched turned to disaster. And I could not understand. I reached the point of awareness where I recognized that it was me doing it. Dev, you know what? I'm with you on this, except I would change a couple words to, and I believe this would be more completely accurate, but you see what you feel. Beta masculinity is femininity. And when masculinity is out of balance and it retreats into its feminine, it fears masculinity too. And it perceives that masculinity is toxic to it rather than realizing that it has fear and it is misperceiving and ineffective at interacting with masculinity. Okay, deep stuff here. So I lived in relationship hell. And about 8 years ago, I had an experience of pain in relationship. It reached a fever pitch that I simply could not take. Don't worry about it, Deanna. I just couldn't take it anymore. And I literally was ready to die. I 30 years of self-help, hundreds of thousands of dollars that I had spent, every relationship program, every course. I don't want to name the people teaching them because I'm not minimizing them. It's just nothing that I found got to the roots of the roots of the roots. And the number of high-level spiritual teachers today that are still talking the narcissist victim narrative, my God, like who's paying them? Who's handing them the script? I'm really curious about that. Okay. But I had an experience where I woke up completely to the fact that all is one. It went from being a mental experience for me to me knowing it beyond the shadow of a doubt in every cell of my body. I'm answering that question now, George. And to be honest, George, you've been around me for a little while, and I've never said anything other than the answer to that question. So you might want to choose to breathe a bit deeper and be a bit more present moment to moment. All right, before I go any further, I'm going to entertain this. All right, now this is a deep issue. The only way to do this sanely is to start, Beth, by considering and then remembering. If you do not commit to remember what I'm about to say, I offer to you that you're going to suffer and you're going to actually end up doing more, quote, harm than good. But just hang on with me for a minute. Do you accept the possibility, Beth, that you are the infinite, unlimited being, that you are infinite, unlimited, eternal being itself, and that you're here in Earth Academy to experience a healing of any boundaries and borders and pains and all that stuff? And that might mean coming in and being born to crazy fucking parents who hit us and scream at us and abuse us and maybe even kill us. If we're infinite, unlimited, eternal beings, then we're indestructible. And whatever we go through, our soul chose. And so when you look at and you want to protect your child from his father's pain, you probably haven't dealt with all your pain. So part of your efforts are going to be driven from your own pain irrationally, unconsciously. And it's actually, you're going to be actually getting in your child, who is an infinite, unlimited, eternal being, you're going to getting in their business. There is an intuitive awareness in the moment where you can know in your soul, in every cell of your body, intervene right now. But if you're not coming from absolute presence and absolute deepest awareness, intercede now, you're going to be interfering in what that child's soul chose. As a kid, if I could have gone back and undid the violence in my childhood and the abuse and the criticism and the condemnation and the ridicule and the humiliation and the face slapping and the punching and the hitting and the screaming, as a kid, I would have gone back and undone it any time. I would have wanted to do that. Today, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't be who I am sitting here communicating and able to literally help, going from homeless and suicidal to now helping over 160,000 people in 84 countries and just getting started. I wouldn't be doing this had I not gone through what I went through. It's taught me to understand and to never judge or condemn, regardless of what the person is doing. If I have a moment of thought of judgment, I let myself entertain it, and I'm out of it. And for anyone who's breathing and curious, I agree. It is amazing to once again awaken to discover that my only tormentor all along was that part of myself left over from yesterday. There's nobody out there that can hurt me. There is nobody out there that can break my heart. There's nobody out there that can make me feel betrayed, abandoned, or rejected. There is no one out there that can hurt my fucking feelings in any way, shape, or form. They only reflect and bring up the pain that's already in me. And you may not be ready. You may not want to hear that. You may not know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. The pain of perceived separation from source. The pain of the perceived separation from source is everything, which means that returning to my awareness of myself as source is everything. So several years ago, about 8 years ago, I had this awakening experience, and I sat down and I formulated, and I'm not saying this lightly, and I welcome challenges. I formulated the most powerful, the most magical, the most complete, and the most simple relationship tool I have ever seen. It might be the most powerful on the planet right now. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I've been looking for 40 years. I haven't seen anything like it. It is a tool that you can use for a few minutes and begin to change your entire relationship life, because you're starting with you. There are changes that you know you need to make. You must make some changes in order to have the relationship that you want. And you say, well, I want to honor your infinite intelligence, and I'm going to tell you something really, really crazy here, okay? The vast majority of people, including people on my team that work with me, they don't believe that people are ready to handle that the person is the one who's totally responsible. And sometimes there's hints about maybe I could tone that down and explain it a little differently. Now, I trust the infinite, unlimited being in you, and those who don't and don't want to hear it, that's totally fine. But the ultimate truth is that you are responsible for absolutely everything. And there are some things that you're going to have to change, but you don't believe right now that you can change them. There are some things about you that you're so sure are fucked up and wrong and bad, and you've repressed and buried them so completely that you think you would like to have the other person change, and you don't believe that you can. And how about that? How about that for honesty? Like it or don't. Anybody that wants to admit it, feel free, and I'll high five you for having the guts. But I realized, I knew that there were some things I needed to change. And when I discovered this tool, I found that 40 years of working on myself, 30 years of high investment in self-help and spirituality and personal development hadn't addressed those deepest pains in me. They hadn't handled it. And that the deepest pains in me were what was keeping me. They were the only thing from keeping me from the intimacy and the authenticity. I was frantic and flailing in all of my relationships, desperately trying to keep the other person, trying to get them to like me, trying to be enough, trying to prevent myself from being rejected. Everything you've been doing. just from my angle. I had done some things in relationships that I was convinced they were proof that I was fucked up beyond repair and that there was no hope, which was why I was suicidal. Oh, no one's going to want somebody as crazy as me. I just got to hide the crazy and put my best foot forward in the relationship and hope that it works. Maybe you can relate. And when I downloaded this process and I put it to work, I instantaneously was able to begin to change without trying. I was able to begin to change the things in me that I couldn't even admit. Like, I thought they were so fucked up, and I was so fucked up, and I was so disastrous, and I was so unhealable, and I was so messed up in every way. And I couldn't find the knob to change those things, so that meant I was going to be this way forever. Look at this. Look at that. Now, when we reach that point, I'm going to talk about this tool a bit and what happened for me. When we reach the point that we're willing to admit, I accept the possibility that the only way out is to heal myself. That would mean the only way out is to go in. That would mean to stop blaming anyone and everyone from my past. And many of us are carrying a flavor that could be described towards our dad. I am not going to admit it, because if I do, he wins. I'm saying to you that until you accept the possibility that you are the only source of all of your pains today, the ways you're doing it to yourself are hidden from you. You're making it look like those people out there, your ex-husband, your husband, the people that are coming down the road with the syringes, your government, your leaders, your boss at work. You're telling yourself that those people, your children shutting the door on you, you're telling yourself that they're causing your pain. And as long as you do that, you're denying where your pain actually lies. And it is inside of you. There is no painful relationship. There's only a painful me. And I'm not actually full of pain. I just have some pain in there. How simple is that? Well, then that would mean there's the possibility that if I own it and accept total responsibility and quit blaming the fucking raging narcissists around me who might only be reflecting my pain for me so that I can heal it, when you accept that possibility, all the love in the universe that I could ever want to experience is already inside of me. And all the pain that I ever feared and ran from and hid from in the universe was inside me. Then once I get that, I could bring the love to meet the pain, dissolve it, and suddenly the narcissists magically turn into fucking loving beings. I'm going to pause for effect there for a moment. But Brian, I don't see how, and I don't know how to get down to it. And that's right. So that's what I'm about to tell you. So I love you infinitely, Daniela, and you and I ain't done dancing. The narcissist becomes the angel that they always were. Now, this is very, 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 very close to true. The pain in me reflects around me as those who are hurting me and the things they do. So I am now, I said I wasn't going to hold anything back. I'm going to go deep. Now, I'm about an hour, so it's time for me to go into the Q&A, and I got a couple, there's something I want to get to. I really feel that if I express this with you, this growing group that's on this live stream right now, at this point of what I've said, you're right to hear something that you might not have been ready to hear 15 or 20 minutes ago. And I'm going to do it in the form of a question. Now, in every paid session I do, whenever anyone hires me to do a one-on-one session with them and help them to dissolve any issue out of their life, whenever I start a new paid program, whenever I get on with a group of people, this is one of the things that I reiterate pretty much every day. Hang on. You don't love anybody, Rena, until you love yourself. We can talk more about that. Okay, so breathe and relax, everybody. Come on now. Breathe and relax for a minute. Listen to this. What if the universe is not outside of you? What if what you call the universe, starting with this seemingly separate body, which isn't. I'm hearing and seeing and all these things. I'm sensing myself. The universe is myself. The universe is myself. I am the source of the universe, and I am every universe I find myself in. They taught me to think the universe was out there, and it's been fucking me up ever since. If you're willing to accept that, if you're willing to be curious, what if the universe is the infinite light of creation projecting ever inexhaustible, pure, radiant, fractal white light flowing from the eternal into the illusion of time and space for this experience? And from my point of view, the universe is that light reflecting and projecting as everything that I experience in the infinite dimensional movie, not a 3D movie or a 2D movie on a screen, but the infinite D movie of my life. Such that the universe is the reflection and the projection of everything I think, that I believe, that I know, the vast majority of which is hidden from me by me in the so-called unconscious. And much of it is tangled up in emotions that I desperately don't want to fear and feel. And I don't want to feel it so badly that I build structures out of my infinite, unlimited, universe creating ability. I build structures to prevent myself from feeling those emotions, which prevent me from seeing how I'm doing it. This will reflect exactly what I'm saying to you from Christy's words. What if the narcissist that I'm labeling, the person who's hurting me, the person who rejected me, the person causing my pain, what if they are merely the reflection of the pain already in me? What if they are literally an angel showing up to me to do exactly what is necessary to bring the pain that's already in me up so that it can be felt and healed and released back into infinite possibilities? Now, wait a fucking, Brian, come on now. You're saying nobody's ever, what about? It doesn't matter which what about you bring to me. What if the universe is the reflection and the projection, everything in it, every person, every event, which is not separate people, places, and events? It's crazy. What if everything that happens is reflecting to you what you think and believe that you know, and the emotions you're repressing, so that you can feel them and heal them and step to the next level of infinite awesomeness? Then all diagnosing of narcissists, all beliefs in toxic masculinity, all Me Too's that want me to identify as, yes, I'm a victim too, all of it is attaching me and addicting me and convincing me more that I'm a victim of that which is outside of me. And it's designed to do that, but that we don't even need to focus on that. So I sat down with this tool that I had downloaded, and I instantly, within seconds, I was able to see what I could never see in my entire life. And within minutes, I was able to understand what I actually want to experience in relationships that I couldn't see through the pain. And that instantly made me aware of what I must bring and embody and exemplify in order to have the relationships that I want to have. Now, I'm going to say every word that I've said on this live stream from start to finish in a minute. I'm here on this planet, seemingly a person, seemingly surrounded by people. I have a history. I went through pain. I went through some agony. I've been through some heartbreaks and some abuses. And those pains didn't get healed and digested and processed. They got stored in me. The pain was such that I repressed and denied. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't seem to solve it. And so I built more and more complex structures to repress and hide and bury those things. They show up in my life as everything that reflects around me that I thought was outside of me attacking me. It's my shit reflecting to me. All of it at the personal level and at the global level. There is no distinction. I know not everybody's ready to hear that. I totally get it. But you are as ready as you are. And therefore, the only way to heal absolutely everything out there, from Fauci to syringes full of who the fuck knows what, to your child crying in the other room, to your spouse saying, fuck you, I'm never going to talk to you again after what you've done to me. What if every bit of it, every bit of it, what if all of it without limits is merely the reflection on the infinite D movie screen of your life of the pain inside of your body? This right here. Thank you, River. So self-love is the key. Self-love is the key. But and, in addition, but and, self-love is the key. But what nobody seems to get, because I see a lot of people out of one side of their mouth, they're talking oneness and self-love, and out the other side of their mouth, they're still talking narcissist and victimhood. I'm not saying that you are, River. Self-love means, first of all, loving the self with a capital S. Virtually every one of us knows beyond the shadow of a doubt, we, the little me, doesn't deserve love. We're not going to get love. We can't count on love. It's never going to stay. We know everything about love. So we think that we hear self-love, we go, fuck, I'm going to fail at that. And all the teachers of self-love are teaching how to love the little self. When you already know beyond the shadow of a doubt, the little self can't be loved, won't be loved. It's about loving the infinite self, which heals everything. And this process enabled me in a few minutes to literally heal every relationship in my life. Of course, starting with the one with myself, because that's all there is. To the point where today I'm in love with myself. I'm in love with my partner. I'm in love with my kids. I'm in love with my life and my work. I'm in love with nature, and I'm in love with you. And I'm in love with those who would hurt or harm or kill me. It's because it isn't love, Rena. We can talk more about this. It isn't love. It isn't love. Love can never leave anyone drained. You're going for approval, and we can talk more about this. Okay. So I call this process the perfect partner process. And it expands out to be the perfect relationship with your child process, your perfect relationship process. It goes into every area of life. And I have an hour and a half for this live stream, and I'm an hour and 15 minutes in. So I'm going to go into hyper speed right now to give you the last bits that I can. Well, let me, you know what? I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it while I tell you about this program. Okay. After 8 years of using this tool and perfecting it, sharing it privately with a couple friends, sharing it privately with some of my clients, and having them report back to me about their results and fine-tuning and perfecting it. This process, I believe and I perceive, is the most powerful relationship healing tool on the planet. What it does is quite literally miraculous. It just takes you back to your miraculous self. And how and why it came through me, I don't know. So about maybe 6 months ago, 5 or 6 months ago, I released the first relationship program that I've ever done. It was called Your Perfect Man. We released it for hetero women, no exclusivity. I'm going to do multiple programs. We wanted to narrow it down to one niche and just prove beyond the shadow of a doubt. Those 67 women came back to me with testimonials unlike anything I've ever seen. Now, I've been getting testimonials for the last 10 years that say, Brian, I worked on myself for 30 years. An hour with you changed my life more than anything I've ever done. I get those every week. Okay. But the testimonials from the Your Perfect Man program were beyond anything that I could have imagined. Still blowing my mind every day. I'm still getting reports back. And my team looked at this. We had a big conversation and we decided we kind of had to. Several men were asking me about, hey, what about a Your Perfect Woman program? What about healing relationships with our kids? What about global relationships? And so the pressure was there. And I am now today announcing the release of Your Perfect Relationships. And what this program is, it starts with the process, the perfect partner process that I developed, fell out of heaven into my lap and completely changed my life, completely changed my relationships to where today I don't need anyone for anything. And I am at total peace. And if everyone that I love was to be sunk on a ship at sea tomorrow, I would go through sadness. Oh my God. I would not grieve. Everyone that I know believes grieving is an absolutely natural process. It isn't. I've literally helped someone in 20 years of grieving in 1 hour. It probably was 15 minutes, to be honest. All right. Here's a member of the Your Perfect Man program. So we don't have a relationship book, Ted. I don't have a relationship book. It's not on Amazon. I'm more than likely going to end up writing one, but I don't have a book for this yet. But when I did the Your Perfect Man program, it modeled something for me that I'm doing in this program. Now, the last time that I wanted to do this, I was not able to share my screen, but this time I'm going to see if I can do it. So let me just see. Let me pull this off here. And let's see. In fact, let me do this first. I'm going to put this comment in for anyone that can see it. Dev, depending on what page you're on, you can see if I just post a link. In fact, let me do this as well. Some of you literally probably are ready to join the program right now. And I haven't explained it yet. So now I'm going to see if I can walk you through and tell you how this program works. Looks like it might let me. Oh my God, it worked. What a miracle. I love it when it works. All right. So we are releasing today the Your Perfect Relationships program. As much as I would love to give this program away, and well, I'm not going to say any more about that. As much as I would love to give it away, I want everyone in the world to have it. My team, we're dealing with COVID measures. We're dealing with everything everybody else is. We're dealing with social media censorship. We're dealing with everything else. We got to keep the lights on and we got to keep food on the table for everybody that's on my team and their families. And so we're making this program so ridiculously affordable. Basically, anybody's going to be able to do it. And we're providing some help with that too. Okay. So here's what happens when you join Your Perfect Relationships. You get lifetime access to the entire program with all the recordings, which is normally $777. I'm going to be doing next Wednesday the orientation session, which will probably be about 2 hours. We are going to take the concepts that I talked about here today, and we're going to go 1,000,000,000 times deeper. And I am going to be answering deep questions, which I'm willing to stay on and answer a little bit of questions here in a few minutes too. Helping people to bring their primary desires for relationships up so that everybody can see them and hear them and move through them together. After that orientation session, of course, we record every session. We're going to do 7 weeks of live mentoring. We're going to meet, me and this group of people, we're going to meet every week for an hour or so, including live spell breaking sessions where I will be pulling people on at the beginning of the session. Everybody tells me what they want to work on, what they want to heal, what do they want to address in their relationships. Now, this is the trippy part that takes a minute of explaining. I have been doing this for 10 years as a business, and I've been doing what I do since I was 3 years old. So 53 years in this body that I've been doing basically spell breaking with people where they tell me their issue, they tell me their pain, and I literally help them to dissolve every aspect of it from the mental body, the emotional body, and the physical body. And it stops happening in their universe. It is the most miraculous thing, but it's no big deal. It's just how the universe really works when we get out of all the programming, okay? One of the things that blew my mind the most was when I started doing group programs and someone would come on for me to do a spell break with them live. So let's just say that I have 50 people on a live stream or on a video call and everybody's on video. One person steps up and says that they want to have help and I work with them. When they have their breakthrough, I watch everybody else on the session have the same breakthrough from their angle because we are all one. Even more mind-blowing, people that watch the replays have the same breakthrough as if I were working with them. So for 7 weeks, I'm going to be doing live spell breaks with anybody and everybody in the program who is willing to bring up an issue to be dissolved. We're already gathering together some of the recordings of some of the most profound spell breaks on relationships that have ever happened. So you're going to have a small and growing spell break library that you can watch every angle of relationships. Mother, child, child, mother, adult, aged mother, husband, wife, everything you can name. Spell breaks where you can go in and watch me help someone undo all the pain inside of themselves that was reflecting as their relationship agony, and you can have the same thing dissolve in you, and you will meet the truth that all is one and that you are it in the most profound experiential way possible. Okay? Private Facebook group. Now, this is the kind of thing that's just absolutely priceless because when I do a program like this, the people who say, yeah, that's for me, those people are coming together with like-minded, like-hearted intention to admit the truth like never before, to face the truth like never before, to transcend the truth like never before. And when that kind of like-minded, like-hearted group comes together and has these types of conversations, the conversations that happen in the private Facebook group is often 1,000,000 times more magical and powerful than what actually happens in the sessions. Plus, I occasionally will go live in the Facebook group with bonus information whenever I'm inspired, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So this is over $1,800 worth of the stuff that you're going to get. And you can join us today for under $250. Now, you can read this at your discretion. I'm going to flip back over, but let me just tell you, I don't even want to go into all that. You'll find out what all is there. So it's over 75% off if you join us between now and Sunday. And on Sunday, we're going to close the 75% off, and we're going to start the program next Wednesday. Okay. So if this is for you, you got a little bit of time to pull it together. Now, I want to get off of screen sharing here. Okay. So here's the link that you can use to join us. And now I'm going to go back to the comments. I am most likely going to be able to go deeper now than I went during the entire session. Let me look at my notes one last time here. Okay, good to go. Good to go. I'm good enough on my notes there. So like I say, I don't do the sales pitch, and I don't need to do the sales pitch. I want you to know what's in it, and I want you to know that if it's for you, hey, here's what to do and what you're going to get. So there's that. Now, let's get into some Q&A, and maybe this Q&A will help some people to come off of the fence and join us if it's for you. I'm going to share a couple self-serving comments that have just come through. So check this out. And to watch, Christy, to watch you do it, to watch your beyond transformation, your movement into liberation has brought me to tears more than once, just so you know. I'm with you, CJ. Love you, bro. All right, Christy just shared the link as well for anybody who wants to join us. I welcome your questions, and I'm with you there, Ron. Okay, so we have 64 people remaining from a high of about 80. And I've been on for an hour and a half. So you people, I don't believe what they say about people having short attention spans anymore. If you've been on this long with me, you either fell asleep or you're getting something out of this. And if you have any questions, all right. You know, Michael, I really appreciate you asking me that, because as I was interacting with what people were saying, I actually kind of didn't bridge that quite as clearly as I could have. So really, thank you for saying that. Okay. So what I did, forgive me for a bit of story, but this is going to really help those that are interested. About 6 months ago, when we contemplated releasing the Perfect Man program, I was actually going to finally, after 8 years, I was going to publicly release the Perfect Partner process. And we were going to package it, put a little bit of training around it, and sell it for a very reasonable price and change a couple 100 million lives. And my team came back and said, listen, Brian, I mean, you can do that, and the value will be absolutely incredible. But what if you did your mentoring? Like, what if you put the tool, the relationship tool, in the program and then spent 7 or 8 weeks working with everyone who was using it to see what came out of that? Okay, so because of that, as a result of that, I'm not going to release the Perfect Partner process without it being a part of a program. In a way, the core of this Your Perfect Relationships program, the core of it is the process. It absolutely is. However, let me ask you this. How are you feeling right now about yourself? How are you feeling about your relationships? How are you feeling about understanding yourself as an infinite, unlimited being? And you haven't experienced the process yet. So the mentoring and the coaching And the spell breaking that we're going to do, every time we do it, it's going to multiply the results of the perfect partner process. And instead of just getting the tool and a little bit of training how to use it and us getting 10,000 questions every week from now on, you're going to get the tool, the perfect partner process, in the program with an orientation session where I walk you through all the training and all the ways to use the tool and answer a whole bunch of questions. And then 7 ongoing weeks of meeting where not only will we go deeper with how to use the tool, and you know what, with that, I see some comments. I'm going to scroll down to them in just a moment. I'm going to say one more thing here. Listen, I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks. And that's one of the things about being free. You quit caring what people think, and you don't quit caring. You actually get to love somebody so much that you don't care what they think. And then you get to be authentic and everything gets to be real. And that's where I'm at. This tool literally, magically, you'll see the mechanisms. It's really simple. It's just infinitely profound. It helps you to become aware of what it is that you really most want that you never dared to even think you want. I'm gonna let you in on a secret right now. When you're carrying around all that pain, your ability to clearly see what it is that you most want is completely blocked and blinded and distorted and perverted by the pain. So suddenly you begin to, when you start to get clear, you start to want the things you actually want. You quit pouring energy into the artificial wanting and artificial chasing of those things you don't want. You get laser focused on what matters most, which instantly activates the higher parts of yourself that can have those things and bring those things about. And the lower parts in the pain just begin to dissolve. It is quite literally miraculous. All right. I agree, Christy. And you know, if we were offering the orientation session that I'm going to do next Wednesday and the tool, it's worth 10, 100, 1,000 times what we're offering the program for. And then we're going to do 7 weeks of spell breaks in the group. It's going to be off the freaking chart. It is going to be off the chart. Any further questions, everybody? And listen, your questions can be about the topic or about the program. I don't care. I'm here to help until I flip the little red button. Awesome, Mar. Welcome, buddy. We got a few people that are in already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I really look forward to partying with you. I really do. This tool does absolutely evolve with you. This relationship tool is it is bridging in from the non-physical infinite wisdom into this realm, and it activates these things in you. It is a miraculous tool. I'm not going to ever water that down. And I don't use the word lightly. No more questions. I love you, Rena. You know, Rena, the comments that you made, I don't want to persuade you to choose yes or no. I just want to persuade you to choose. Okay? This program, with the comments that you made today, this program could literally change everything for you. You just feel whether you're ready for it or not. Feel whether it's for you or not. Any further questions? Let's see. Okay. Now watch this. Watch this, watch this, watch this. I didn't find a partner yet. I found an ideal job. Not to mention the relationship with my son is beyond magic. As your relationship with yourself, I got to tell you something. All right. I did a session yesterday, and the person said to me one of the most hilarious things that I could ever hear in this body, in this life. The woman literally said to me, I'm ready to have the ultimate relationship. And I want a relationship with someone who has everything that I've developed in these last 6 months with your work, Brian. I want someone who has everything that I have to bring to the relationship, except for, and when she said except for, now see, you might not see how that's so hilarious. I want someone who's exactly like me in every way, except for, no, you're going to reflect flawlessly, perfectly, and eternally in your partner, especially your intimate partner, everything you hate about yourself, everything you fear about yourself, everything you deny about yourself. And so as the ideal job and the relationship with your son, as these things heal and you come more to peace, the perfect partner that you thought was outside of you is actually inside of you, and he's making his way to you. That's how it works. That's how it works. How does it differ from my other programs? Okay, there's a couple ways. Number one, Christine, and by the way, I love you, woman. It's great to see you. The way this is going to differ from my other programs at first is because it is going to be explicitly, exclusively focused on relationships. So the issues that everybody brings up is going to be completely different. I'm going to be focused on delivering and sharing and helping you to master the use of this incredible, miraculous process. The second way that's going to be different, the people that are in it and the issues they bring and the intentions they have. Perfect, Michael. Perfect, buddy. Yep. Yep. Love you, Cheryl. It will be. Yeah, the Your Perfect Man program was an example. All right. Thank you for this. Here is a deep question. Blocked in my sense. I love you infinitely, River. I welcome conversation going further with you anytime. Blocked in my sense of connectedness with my wife, having carried much dependency and codependency patterns historically. But in the last 7 years, learning better how to live with more presence, that has helped so much, but more so in my line of work. Still blocked in ways I can't seem to tap into yet in my 25 years of marriage, but I'm still open and curious, desiring of still knowing deep intimacy. Can I help? Jay, I don't know how long on this live stream you were on, and I'm in no way, I'm the opposite of being a smartass, but I'm going to ask you, can I help? Can I help? If it's okay with you, I'm going to offer a bit of help right now. What if you're not blocked? Blocked in my sense of connectedness, still blocked in ways I can't seem to tap into. What if you're not blocked? What if, and I don't know if you were on the whole time, what if the universe is the reflection and the projection of the infinite, unlimited light that you are, the whole universe, the oneness that you are? What if the whole universe and everything you seem to perceive around you is the reflection and the projection of everything you think and believe that you know, the vast majority of which is hidden from you by you in the unconscious, so that you won't feel those feelings you don't want to feel, which also prevents you from seeing the roots. So you perceive that there are blocks, when the fact is you're not seeing that the infinite, unlimited answer is in you and is you. What if you're not blocked? Now, I'm going to say, from my universe, I honor your perception in blocks. I'm just saying that in my universe, it's fucking bullshit. There are no blocks. You have no blocks. You've never been blocked. If we really want to use that word, you've been blocking yourself to keep yourself safe. End of story. Like everybody else. And because we don't want to feel those pains, and we have built structures to not feel and see those pains, and we deny and repress those pains, we perceive that there are blocks outside of ourselves. So imagine looking in your wife's eyes and you feel that trepidation, and you feel, what about, oh, and what if she thinks, and what if she remembers that time and what if she knows that I secretly think? And you just relax and you breathe. and you look deeper into her, and you realize that as you look deeper into her eyes, you're having to open deeper in yourself for her to see deeper into you. And imagine seeing so deeply in that you let her see so deeply in that you recognize there is no me in her. This is one being working out the illusion of separation. And you meet the other, who is no longer the other, with infinite presence and compassion. And you heal the universe because you're the only one here. So can I help? I'll let you answer that. We will be meeting at the same time every day for 8 weeks. And that will be Monday at 11 a.m., if I'm not mistaken, Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. I am almost positive of that. And I can be corrected, but I know for sure it's on Monday. You're welcome. And Jay, safety, Wednesday. And safety is the issue. Listen, as children, we learned we weren't safe. We learned that to show our love, we were going to be abused. To show our love, we were going to be ridiculed and criticized and rejected. And at the worst, our love was going to be ignored. And we learned it's not safe to be, it's not safe to express, it's not safe to want what we want, it's not safe to ask for what we want. So we go into these unconscious manipulations, which alienates everyone around us, which we believe there is everyone around us. So we're endlessly perpetuating this illusion of separation, which endlessly multiplies and exacerbates the pain. This today is the end of that for somebody's. Today is the end of that for somebody's. You're welcome, Christine. Love you. You're welcome, Jay. Love you, brother. So I believe I'm done. Sometimes I have that last little straggler question in. Those of you who have joined us, I am thrillingly 1 p.m. Pacific. Thank you so much, Bonnie. I knew it was either 11 or 1. I appreciate that. So, and the orientation session is next Wednesday as I make this on Friday morning in Hawaii time. Thank you also, Christy. So, those of you that this is for, just do it. Just do it. If it's not for you, please don't do it, because it would suck to have you in the group with us not wanting to do it. I don't want anybody to do it that doesn't want to do it. Everybody who wants to do it, join us. You have a few days to take advantage of the, actually, I guess about 52 hours from right this moment to be able to take advantage of the 75+% off. This program at full price, I would have paid 10 times for it. In fact, I paid a lot more than 10 times for this program, but I never got this information and benefit. So if it's for you, join us and be ready. Be ready for awesomeness off the freaking charts. Everybody who doesn't join us, I love you. I look forward to dancing with you on a future live stream or on some of my upcoming videos and programs. Love you all. Much aloha. That is probably my favorite comment on the whole live stream. I look forward to seeing you in the program. Love you, buddy. Love you, Cheryl. You're an angel in my life.